After two brutal battles, the dwarves have finally made it to Mount Gundabad and they have met up with their allies of Dale. However, the Dalian force is heavily reduced after that brutal ambush. Now they have made their way to their homelands where their great ancestors once awoke. They will storm the fortress with ferocity and heart. However, a large army of Gundabad still remains inside of the outer layers and are prepared to propel the attackers back to whence they came with full force. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back to some more Total War Rise of Mordor. This is part 3 of our Gundabad series. However, don't worry if you haven't seen the first two battles. You don't need to see them to enjoy this awesome series. However, I do recommend going back and checking them out after you've watched this one or before you watch this one. It's completely up to you. I'll leave a link to them down below in the description. But basically, this scenario battle is a string of like 3 to 4 to 5 battles. Who knows how long this will go for? I think it's around about 4. And each battle leads on to the next. So each one has a theme, has a story leading towards the dwarves reclaiming Gundabad, their lost holds where the orcs of Dol Guldur do remain. The first battle was an ambush as the dwarves progressed their way forward. The second battle, reinforcements for Dale were being sent to make it to this battle. However, once again, they were ambushed by the treacherous orcs and they took heavy casualties but managed to pull through. And as you'll see in this battle, this is all that remains of the Dale forces. So they, as you can see, that Pyrrhic victory that they won in the last battle, you can see they do not have much left compared to the dwarves who won a much more decisive victory in the first engagement, and they still have 3 full stacks raring to push forward and assault this final settlement, which is so awesome. It's amazing that these scenario battles do continue on from one another. It's great to see them all having consequences as well, and I think hopefully in the future we'll see them taking this even further and creating some really cool battles. So if you guys are enjoying this, you want to go ahead and see more on the channel in the future, and if you want to go ahead and see part 4, then make sure you go ahead and comment and like down below. The videos themselves haven't been doing amazingly view-wise, but they've been doing really good comments and like-wise, so as long as these videos get enough likes, get enough comments, I'll be happy to keep on doing them and showing them to you guys. So yes, let's dive in. So as you can see, we have 4 dwarven players, or 3 dwarven players and a Dalian player, a player from Dale, and they're currently pushing up on this outer wall. The custom map has a pretty interesting setup. We have some side passages where the attackers can make their way through and assault the inner layer a little bit easily. Then we also obviously have this kind of like Theodosian wall out here protecting the inner layers. However, as you can see, the defenders can't actually spawn out here. I believe the defenders can only spawn there, and they have to rush men out to try and stop this before the dwarves can actually take it. So the dwarves pretty much get on this wall before the defenders can get out here and mount them themselves. However, they again can defend this outer field very effectively. There is only one way through on this map if you're going through the main wall, and that is across this bridge. So the defenders are obviously tasked with holding this for as long as possible to stop the majority of the attacking force and breaking through. However, obviously, as you can see, the attackers can go all the way around here through the mountains and then up, and then they can obviously support this this defense on the bridge by hitting them from either side there, which is always quite effective. As well as that, one of the things to note is that the 2 side gates can be captured from outside, which is a little bit weird. But I think it's mainly designed because I think it's very possible to actually bring siege equipment inside of the settlement, so that way it gives the attackers some leeway right there. However, this main gate here can only be captured from the other side, so obviously we're going to need to be able to destroy it with artillery or do whatever they need to do. And yeah, as I said, we have 3 dwarven forces and then a depleted Dale force, and then 3 defending orc factions from Dol Guldur, and also we've got some Dunland infantry in here as well. So yeah, not an easy force. A lot of shock infantry from Dol Guldur, a lot of units that are ready just to fully rip these dwarfs apart. Banter power wise, as you can see, we actually have 18,000 men. I think it's like 18,500 soldiers on the battlefield, so we are not messing around this day whatsoever. Lots of soldiers, which is always epic to see. And right off the bat, you can already start to see the tribal hunters unleashing a couple volleys onto the Dalian infantry as their shields gleam in the sun, and they push their way further and further forward. Again, I think the main objective here from Dale is to obviously kind of soften up this bridge. If they can also break any soldiers through here, that would be absolutely massive, because you can already see the dwarves have mounted the walls and are now pushing down with their iron swordsmen. up against the Wraiths, and one of the interesting things about the Wraith units is they are actually unbreakable, so this is really one of the best units to send up and defend this outer layer, honestly, because even if they do go, like, even if they get enveloped, they'll still fight. They'll die quicker if they get enveloped, but they will stand and they'll fight to the death because they are unbreakable. They are like ethereal beings. So yeah, as I said, a perfect unit to kind of defend this outer layer. Because even when they do inevitably get enveloped, which they 100% will, they'll just fight and kind of hold and buy you some extra time quite effectively. With some Dwarven Axemen now breaking their way down. The gate itself has just been breached. Yeah, there you go. As the awesome Spear Guard come running towards them. So yeah, nice play to see the Orcs of Gundabad kind of committing these units. A really smart move, honestly, and something that I've only really just thought about. We also have a unit from Dunland as well here, the Elder Spears, fighting some of the other forces from Dale. Really cool stuff. And guys, go ahead and put down in the comments as well if there's any other scenarios, types of scenarios you guys want to see these guys do. Put them down in the comments, because they do read the comments, they do see them, because I've seen them in my comments every single battle so far. So if you guys have any cool ideas, maybe they could do, maybe try and give them some inspiration, because I'd love it if they would keep on doing these battles, as they are really fun to go ahead and show you guys, especially the fact that the battles do lead on from one another. So it just kind of gives you guys some great ways of enjoying them as the arrow fire comes flying in. Obviously, we still have a couple more parts left, or at least one more part, I believe, of this series left. And one of the great things about these scenario battles is that, the Dwarven Expedition might literally just fail, The dwarfs might get to that final battle and just not have enough left after losing, too many soldiers on the initial assault, which makes it so fun. I like that feel that, every battle has consequences for the overarching campaign of taking back Gundabad. It really, really does. And hopefully in the future they can kind of flesh out the mechanics and losses and stuff a little bit more, just to make for even better battles for those of you who really do enjoy them. And honestly, we got a little bit of lag there, but I mean, the battle is running pretty smoothly. I have 27 FPS right now with 18,000 men on the battlefield. Obviously, that's going to be testing if you're 23 to 25 FPS. People say Attila runs like crap on their computer, but I mean, considering we have 18,500 soldiers fighting, that's not bad. The game runs pretty decently. Obviously, it could be better, don't get me wrong, but it could be a lot worse as well. I play with 6,000 men in Warhammer, and obviously there's a lot more after effects and stuff on that, but even still, I play with 5,000 to 6,000 men, and my computer chugs on Ultra, so I think Attila gets a lot of unnecessary flack, that is for sure. But also a lot of just flack as well, I guess. So as the dwarves push up some more, you can see. It'll be interesting to see if the dwarfs do decide to use any of their ammunition on these walls just to soften up this assault, or if they plan on just really brute forcing their way through, because that's also obviously a tactic they can do. And obviously saving their ammunition for the inner layer is going to be pretty important. There's a lot of soldiers here, so they might just decide to kind of hold that ammunition off until they're a little bit deeper. Get some artillery rounds coming in. And that range is a little bit too far for the artillery to really get themselves stuck in. And with the archer fire right here, you can see these tribal hunters are able to rack up 50, 60 kills. That is not bad at all. These units are really cheap. However, more cavalry is reinforcing. And yeah, these Dalian swords are getting absolutely smacked right now. The one on the far right-hand side is now breaking. Luckily, the cavalry is turning up, but the cavalry could find themselves in the same fate. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if we did see the cavalry try and maybe break through on that bridge. Obviously, the charge is going to be really effective against the enemy. Yeah, but as I said, especially if this unit is charging, I wouldn't be surprised if we just saw this unit charge into them, break them on the charge, and then just keep on going, because getting cavalry through onto this would be absolutely huge. And yeah, you can already start to see the pings going out. That's exactly where they want to go. Get as much of this cavalry through, and that would definitely speed up this assault, because the sooner this goes off, the sooner the other sides can also push in. We've got a nice little dwarven army breaking their way forward. I mean, look at that. That's pretty beautiful to see. An army from the Iron Hills marching forward. I mean, yeah, I would take that over any force in Middle-earth, that is for sure. Look at that. I love the mountain background as well. Yeah, very cool map indeed. So we've got Shock Infantry, we've got Archers, we've got Spear Guards. We've got some of the Tomb Wardens as well. Right there. Yeah, some of the awesome Golden Tomb Wardens. There's also a cavalry from Dale as well, which can be very good if they can get themselves inside the settlement. and they're going to be pushing forward. And as I said in the beginning of the battle, like, they can take this gate and push in pretty, you know, without any hassle. So that's, I guess, what they're going to be doing. And if that cavalry did manage to make its way through, and you can see them rear charging directly into the Wraiths. But again, the Wraiths will take casualties from them charges, but they're unbreakable, so they'll at least kind of buy a little bit more time. Whereas if this was a unit of Gold War Blades or any of the other infantry units that they have to offer, then you would quite quickly find them just breaking, and that would allow them to get through that a little bit often. You know, every extra kill is going to be so important because, again, I'm pretty sure the final battle is coming up. So every kill here is so important. You know, these battles are designed probably for the dwarves to, like, win. The dwarves have the advantage. And it's all about, for the evil guys, at least in this scenario, it's all about the evil guys to just do as much damage as possible. So for them battles where the evil guys do have the advantage, they have the ability to, like, actually turn the tide and win them engagements. Look at this unit of Elder Spears as well, holding firm. Obviously, they're reinforced by the Wraith unit, but really up against it. I'm also really looking forward as well as when they go back through some of the older factions like Dunland. Dol Guldur are a bit more of a newer faction. They have some really good looking units, but go back and maybe make their armor a bit lighter. Dunland obviously definitely needs some more love because they are a bit outdated. You know, just kind of get that Dwarven love that they did. The Rohan, oh my god, you know, the new updates for units, even the new Mordor refresh as well is great. This really brings the armor up to a whole nother quality. It really does do a great job. So I can't wait for that to drop down, and yeah, us seeing the new improved factions. It's going to be absolutely amazing, especially for when that campaign drops and we have all these fresh new units. Going to be really, really epic indeed. So as you can see, a large amount of the forces now being brought down. You've got 4 or 5 units of infantry, unit of crossbows as well, 2 units of crossbows on that left flank, which can also be used if they wanted to maybe just start kind of like hammering that unit there if they needed to. We also have the dwarves being pushed up, yeah, and the dwarves have actually captured this gatehouse, so they can start to assault the inner layer. Might be a little bit more passive waiting. Oh, we also saw some cavalry coming out as well. Yeah, we saw a bunch of horse. From what I assume is Dunland. Yeah, because I don't think Dol Guldur have any cavalry. Yeah, so this is Dunland horsemen. And I did a good job taking this barding unit down to 39 men. Is really good. This is one of the best archers in the game, so killing them is great. So yeah, not a bad job there by the cavalry. 78 kills, pretty impressive for sure. And yeah, you can just see the sheer like lack of, like, I don't know, this just depresses me honestly looking at this Dale force. That last battle was so brutal to them. That ambush really pushed them to their limits, and the battle started with 2 full armies of Dale, you know, Dale prestige. They had full armor, good infantry, and this is what they're left with in this battle. You know, they're really just a token force at this point, reinforcing the Dwarven legions, who obviously will have much more decisive victory in their first battle. And even though, like, the other sides have all been cleared out, you know, the Elder Spears are holding firm. Again, they're not going to be getting many kills. That's not their role. You know, their role is to hold the enemy at bay. Because, you know, right now they're holding up, like, 5 units of dwarves. Obviously, at this point, it doesn't really matter too much, but still. We also have a unit of Dwarven Axe Throwers here. Just taking out a lot of these phantoms, clearing out that bridge. They are also taking a lot of arrows themselves. That's also quite good, you know. As you can see, Dol Guldur are pretty low on ammunition. I don't think they have any places they can resupply that whatsoever, yeah. No, they don't. So, yeah, as you can see, these archers are running very low. Something I wouldn't mind seeing in a future update for Rise of Mordor, actually, is like a supply wagon type unit. Because you have the supply barrels in sieges. But it'd be interesting to take, like, actual supply barrels where you can resupply your archers, you know. Especially now archers fire a lot. Oh, that was brutal. That was a brutal countercharge. Especially now, look at that one phantom right there. Like 6 axes in him. My god. But yeah, it'd be really interesting to bring like a supply barrel to a battle to resupply like elven archers or something. Especially now that archers shoot a lot faster and get through ammunition in like 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Especially the more elite ones. See, that'd be a very interesting take on the battlefield, honestly. And again, you know, it has its upsides and it has its downsides. You know, I'm sure it'll be expensive, meaning you can't bring more units to the like factions who can't already bring a lot of units like the elves. You know, that's a real big kind of, you know, decision for them to make. Also takes up a unit slot for the evil faction, so do they really want to be taking up that, or they could take another unit like 200 orcs or, you know, some trolls or something. Could be an interesting way of you know, doing things, and then also allowing your archers to keep on firing, so then the archer heavy factions don't have just to get into melee and slog it out constantly. Very interesting indeed. So as so far, we have obviously the initial assault, more shock infantry being brought up. We have some of the Mattock warriors from the dwarfs about to, I assume, come flying through this gate as best as they can. In they go. And now engaging some of the Dol Guldur champions. However, again, that is a very scary unit. Probably the strongest unit Dol Guldur do have to offer, but a lot of the arrow fire is finding their way on it, and obviously that is the main play. It's a real shame they didn't bring any artillery on this right-hand side, because actually making a breach in one of these walls at this point would be huge, especially when I look at a battlefield like this and I can see that there is only three gate, you know, gatehouses, only 3 gates in. Making additional breaches would really stretch the defenders thin, because I imagine the defenders really just want to kind of block up their defenses, like, you know, like here. You know, here and here, and kind of just like hold that line like so. So if you could like open up a breach point here, or, you know, open up one like that, it really ends up stretching the defenders, and they end up running out of men quite quickly. Also, somehow this Dwarven company has routed backwards and are about to find their end. I can't imagine these guys are. Yeah, you see that Dwarven body just get chopped down the hill? My god. Yeah, these poor dwarfs routed in completely the wrong way. They honestly did. Yeah, getting absolutely cut down. Hopefully that fate does not befall the rest of them. And there is actually a bit of a gap forming right now. If the dwarfs wanted to, they could try and just like funnel their soldiers through there. If they were fast enough, however, Dol Guldur are seeing that and quite quickly replenishing that hole, making sure that that is not something that they can do. The dwarfs are looking to kind of extend that, though, getting a nice little counter charge there. And that is super important. Normally when it comes to shock infantry, it's who gets the charge first. And the fact that the dwarves got a charge there, you're going to see these Dol Guldur champions take a lot of casualties on that charge. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. Then Mattock warriors doing a great job there. Nice play there by the attacking players. And yeah, they could try and just like really try and exploit this gap. However, lots more of these Guldur blades and also the champions of Dol Guldur being sent forward. They do not want to give up the mountain of Gundabad without a fight. Dale are still positioning, ready to push forward, and we are seeing basically the dwarves of the Iron Hills ready to push forward. And I love this. I love the look of this. This looks absolutely dope. We'll slow down the camera and just go down. And it's always like important, I think, a lot of the time, to like, especially in these scenario battles, to get that kind of, I guess, that medium, that middle ground between really cool cinematic stuff and obviously playing the battle seriously and try-harding. And that's not a skill that everybody does have, you know. A lot of the times players can only play one way, you know. It's either really cinematic and then the battle gameplay really suffers because of that, or you play like kind of too try hard, and then because of that the battle doesn't look as fun. So it's always hard to kind of get that medium, but it does seem like these scenario battles do a pretty decent job of it. And I really hope they do experiment with more different types of battles, you know, like taking 10 minutes before the battle to set up some cool scenarios, you know, maneuvering soldiers, turning off fire at will, you know, setting up battles where, you know, the actual deployment zones aren't necessarily where the battle starts, you know, they actually take the time to move and set up some cool stuff. I just really hope they keep on doing these, because I think it will be very exciting, and, you know, the likes and comments and the interactions on these videos are absolutely amazing, so hopefully they see that and can create some really cool stuff in the future. And as I said, guys, if you haven't already, join the Rise of Mordor Discord, which is where these battles do get hosted. So if you want to be a part of these battles, or even if you're just looking for people to play Rise of Mordor with, make sure you check out there. As that random wolf is fleeing. I don't exactly know why it's on the battlefield. There's no wolf handlers, I don't think. As we can see, the dwarfs are now set up and they are bombarding this gatehouse. Yeah, trying to bring it down, and there you go. Boom, the gate is now taken care of. It does say the gatehouse is with oil, so that could be really painful. But sometimes in these custom maps, it says it's with oil, and it's not actually with oil. They could also try and just damage it completely. That's 91% damage. I think if they get to 100, it kills the oil as well. So that could be something that they are planning on doing right now. But yeah, this is not bad. I mean, Dol Guldur have a nice setup here. Well, there's a big gap, but I'm sure they'll fill that up right now with these guys. Yeah, so it's not a bad little setup right here. They have like a little pike box. And they are also seemingly trying to make another breach over here, which is not a bad idea. I think, honestly, another really good breach point would maybe be like over here or something. Maybe they don't have enough ammunition to make that a reality. I mean, they still have 3 catapults left remaining, so they could definitely make a side breach. And I think the further away, the better, just again to really stretch out the defenders. But again, they might decide to kind of just exploit that by like committing the enemy defenders into a position and then, you know, kind of making this side breach like this. Yeah, destroying this part of the wall and then hitting this pike unit in the side as soon as that breach is made. Again, not a bad play whatsoever. Does also look like Dale are now committing some of their watchpost sentries through this gate. Again, I feel very sorry for Dale. They're going to be the ones taking the heaviest casualties because their force just is not like as high quality as the dwarves is, honestly. Like, you know, it's a sad truth, but a truth nonetheless. And they're going to be breaking through. They're obviously taking that gatehouse first and then immediately making their way through. Numbers-wise so far, we have seen that the dwarves have been able to kind of negate that initial 1,000-man advantage or 1,000-orc-man advantage with them initial skirmishes. This is where the real fighting begins, and I think this is where Dol Guldur will be racking up a lot of their kills, is right in this position. Man's power is in their favor again still, but you kind of expect that in a siege battle to initiate, you know, in favor of the attackers. And there you go, that wall has now been destroyed, killing a handful of soldiers over there, and also a handful of Guldur pikes here. I think that was maybe a bit preemptively, because now the Guldur pikes have a little bit more time to reform. It'd be a really good idea to have already been engaging these pikes, so when they do try and reform, you just slaughter them right now. And obviously they have had the time to now set up. I really like, oh my god, that friendly fire right there as well. Just got a bunch of, yeah, just got 4 dwarfs. What's your aim, boys? I really like it when players hold back siege equipment and like hold up breach points when the battle is a little bit further on. I think it plays such a big role in the battle. And they still have a decent amount of artillery, so they could still make another breach. Like, making another breach point like here, maybe. This is already at 28%, would not be a bad idea. Just really trying to like fully assault this unit. Oh my god, more friendly fire. These poor dwarves losing another like 6 men. That is brutal. How are they doing over on this right-hand side? Because they are committing a lot to this fight. They also still have plenty in reserve. Yeah, as we can see, the Iron Guard now being committed up. Both the spear and also the sword variant against the Guldur blades. There's also a unit of Dol Guldur champions there on the side. So I like the way the defenders are defending this. They're kind of holding the front line with swords and pikes and then looking to get their shock infantry into the sides. Oh, these aren't also the shock infantry ones. These are, I don't know, what ones they're called? The glaives, Guldur glaives, not Guldur champions. Champions are the ones with the huge, like kind of almost like just slab of metal on a handle for a sword. I mean, the dwarfs are cheering, so they're making progress as they break their way further and further through this, but their numbers are dropping. They're obviously going to have to commit the next portion of their army. They also do still have a lot of ammunition left, so I assume they're just saving up for juicy targets. But reserves are having to be committed to this fight, so the more they take there, the less they're going to have to take elsewhere. We also now do see Dale fully committed to this fight, but I just can't imagine like this fight is going to go in their favor. If I was Dol Guldur, maybe I would probably focus them down, like knowing that Dale don't really have a lot of men. I think you can probably quite quickly clear this position out and then just like focus on the other ones, as we do get some archers being brought in, some yeomen who quite quickly get run down by more Dol Guldur blades. Like, this force is already enveloped. It just does not have the numbers and the quality to really stop them. So yeah, I think this is a bad position right now. Look at the infantry just surround them, and they're doing a good job. I also assume as well there are rules of just like sticking a pike unit right here. Again, one of the great things about the scenario battles is you don't get any of like these mega cheesy plays, because obviously quite easily the Dol Guldur could have just stuck a pike unit here, and just like let them come. But obviously, you know, they're not out there just to try hard win these battles. Obviously, they're trying and they're playing good total war. But you know, they still understand that, you know, these battles still need to be fun to play and fun to watch as well. Because it would be pretty brutal if, you know, you just did that, and especially on a map like this where there are any freeways in, it would just be so boring and so grindy. So it's good to see they're actually taking that advantage. And, you know, creating at least some interesting engagements, that is for sure. Oh, wow, look at that. Some of the Mattock Guard have made their way all the way out here, and they're just carving their way through the Guldur glaives. Finally going down now, considering they are completely surrounded. Oh, no. It's a sad time, and the counter charge comes in. Unfortunately, I think a bit of pathfinding on this map, unfortunately, but making their way in, and obviously looking to, surround the dwarfs. But there's still so many reserves. You've got 3 units of warriors of the Red Mountain here, a very potent shock infantry who can rip through a lot of dangerous, heavily armored units. More reserves, a lot of missiles as well. And as the battle continues, you know, like, this bulge will be getting bigger, and you guys know how much I like big bulges. So, you know, more soldiers are going to have to commit to that. We've got some archer volleys coming in. Really nice move here as well. I believe this is probably Dale firing in some arrows into the back of a pike, so using that kind of advantage, using that kind of terrain to their advantage. And yeah, you can see Dale have basically been completely annihilated here. Only a unit of Lake Town Guard left remaining. On 90 kills though, which isn't bad. I'll probably check back on that if they can survive. They are pinned against it, but in the more recent patches, they've actually made Lake Town Guard very strong and a much more potent halberd unit. I'm not sure how I feel about it, because like this is like a really good halberd unit, which is good because, you know, it is a halberd unit, but also, you know, they're only Lake Town Guard. You know, it's not like they're like constantly professional trained soldiers who, you know, see combat all the time. So it's always quite interesting. But yeah, the dwarves are reinforcing this, realizing that if they don't, this side is completely lost, and that's going to be very painful. So what remains of Dale, you know, will be fighting hard. I think there's just some archers left of them. And the dwarves are sending forward some iron hammers, some iron swords. I'm going to just kind of use this to, again, keep that pressure up. But they have plenty of reserves. That's one of the things the dwarves do have going for them, is all them extra units. And I believe they also still have like a handful of units. If they do, they still have a handful of units back here. And it seems like they're actually bringing some of the units out now as well. Really? I guess they're just deciding they don't want to use these guys. They want to keep them in reserve and use them in the final or second to final battle that will be coming up. Like they may come to the conclusion that this is all they need. And they still have, what, you know, a lot of shock infantry left remaining. Even this unit of Tomb Wardens as well have golden experience. That is very nice. A good charge, though, by the Gold War Glaives, or Gold War Champions even, right into the side of the Iron Warriors. And you can see able to do some pretty mortal blows to these units. Very effective stuff. But again, these crossbows, if they can get a shot off or two, can shoot right into the side at point blank range. However, I do think some of these units have broken their way in. Again, some units are also shooting crossbows, so it's always a bit finicky in Attila. So I think the last real remnants of Dale are now being thrown in. No one will return to the Dale after this battle, that is for sure. We also have a unit of the Blood Avengers as well. One of the really strong units from Dunland. They should be able to rack up at least 100 kills thrown into this. You know, they're just fighting spearmen and some medium tier swords, and it's nothing too crazy whatsoever. But again, as you guys can start to see, like, the reserves are being sent in, and even though numbers are dropping, as long as the dwarves keep this steady stream, eventually they will break through here. And you can see that's exactly what they are doing, sending more and more men into the fight. However, Dogaldor are committing more of their glaives into this battle. I'm not sure if this unit should have just been on like guard mode and kind of overcommitted, because now they find themselves in a situation where they could get enveloped quite quickly. And I think morale will be a pretty big thing. Obviously, there's also a lot of, you know, crossbow fire that could come in. Oh, we also got some cavalry making their way in. How did this merchant escort cavalry make it through? However, a deadly charge there right into the back of the Gold War Glaives. They obviously quite quickly commit more infantry here to slow this down, but still, that could turn the tide, rout some units that were, you know, maybe on half HP. And there is also a pretty big gap appearing now in the line. Yeah, look at that. The bulge has been split, and if the dwarfs commit enough here, they could quite easily exploit that, start committing soldiers round the side. And quite quickly, you'll find yourself in a very dangerous situation. And yeah, look at that. Reserves are having to be brought back from the left-hand side now, from the right-hand side, to kind of commit to this fight. And, I mean, there's a bit of a mix of routing there, routing on both sides, which can be pretty deadly. But fresh infantry is now being brought in. Again, I like how they're being marched into battle. I think these are literally like the last like 3 units of Dale now being thrown forward, ready to be committed to this fight. honor that alliance that once stood between men and dwarf. Oh my god, look at that. Yeah, look at that. The Lakedown Guard is still... The Lakedown Guard are on 300 kills now. Oh my god. They are racking up some damage now. They've obviously been supported by the dwarf, so a real nice reinforcement line there. Able to really add some substance to that battle line. And a perfect unit, you know, to be fighting against the Elder Spearmen. But again, we do have the Dogwall Champions or the Dogwall Glaives going on the flanks again. Really nice play here by the defenders, just bringing this shock infantry to every flank they can and trying to use that. Probably be a bit better sorted over on this right-hand side here, but still a deadly unit that can just get damaged no matter what. And look at that, the numbers are dropping on this side. There's like maybe like 100, 200 orcs left remaining on this right-hand side. I think we're going to be seeing a big old mass rout very, very soon, honestly. How's this side looking? This side's looking a little bit better, but the reinforcements are still just trickling in, so even though they're looking pretty safe here for now. I mean, look at the bodies piled up as well. There are a lot down there. The dwarves have committed a decent amount of his side, probably the heaviest losses of the battle so far. Yeah, and I mean, as you can see, like, losses are, you know, starting to kick in. With the arrow fire, what remains of these marksmen of Dale, how many kills are they on? 60, 60, 40. That's not bad, but it's not anything crazy to write home about. But still, you know, every kill does matter. Take a look at Bands of Power as well. Yeah, you can see the dwarfs do have the advantage in manpower. So I think they are going to win this one. I think they're kind of designed to obviously get to the final scenario. And it's really just about how many dwarfs the defenders can actually kill. I mean, if they can get the dwarfs maybe by the end of this battle below like 3,000 men, I think that would be pretty impressive. But, I mean, who knows if that's going to happen. Numbers are dropping very quickly, and now we are seeing the envelopments really coming into play. Cavalry, the Regent Cavalry from Dale now being committed in with that Dalian horse armor. Obviously going to be immediately making their way around here and then charging into the back of the Dogwall Blades. Big breaks now, as you can see, the dwarfs have completely enveloped this position. And I think it's only a matter of time until they get around and start assaulting the other side as well. Over on the left-hand side, I mean, morale is dropping. These units are like 128 men, and they're close to breaking under that heavy pressure of archer fire, infantry, and everything else. The right-hand side has been busted wide open, with cavalry coming in as well to hit the generals. I think the fortress is about to fall, but at what cost, you know? That is the most important thing. At what cost? And we'll have to see just truly how many dead dwarfs will be piled up after this battle, as I do not see them losing at this point. They've got a clear advantage in manpower. They have a clear advantage in positioning at this point.
Their general is dead. A lethal blow.
And now they have a clear advantage in generals, as the war boss from Dogwall has his head chopped cleanly off. And yeah, even though the dwarfs, you know, have lost a lot of men here, the crossbow fire is now coming in. They've even managed to get some crossbows up on the wall, which you guys know is so deadly, because they can just fire directly on top of the enemy units, completely negating their missile block chance. And really cleaning up the battle. So yeah, right now, we're just going to see an absolute, just kind of like swarm of dwarfs as they pour through, clean up what remains here. And it does seem like the defenders are just going to kind of commit their soldiers back here, kind of hold this battle line as one final last stand, which honestly is not a bad idea. There's no point really committing what you have left now to this fight, because you're just going to find yourself enveloped from one flank or another. I imagine as well, once this general unit is now down, we'll see more soldiers kind of wrapping around here, setting up the assault there. But then again, these guys are very close to breaking. Yeah, I think we might just see a trickle, like a mass rout here, and allow the rest of the dwarfs to come in. So yeah, I think for the most part in this battle, this right-hand side took the most casualties, assaulting this breach point for sure. And yeah, the what remains of these Dogwall orcs are just retreating back now, as they quite quickly just try and get their way back to his inner layer. There's not really much left. They have this unit of Servants of the Eye, which I'm surprised wasn't used more in the defense. It's obviously such a deadly unit. I mean, it's taken a casualty, but only 6 kills. Yeah, I'm surprised this unit wasn't used more, because it is really, really deadly. Probably one of the best melee cavalries in the game. So it could have been used very effectively to just kind of like repel the initial assault, and just get some extra kills, make some good routes. Especially going to be clearing up this side as well. Could use that cavalry to really like rear charge. Or maybe even over here as well, in that bulge happen, try and get that cavalry in. There's definitely plenty of ways of using it. But right now, the dwarfs are just going to be pushing forward. We'll keep on triple speed just for a little bit longer. Just let the dwarfs kind of, filter their way in the settlement. Fight this last poor unit of, was this phantoms again, I assume, because they haven't broken. Yeah, wraiths, right, sorry. Unbreakable unit, just like bringing them down bit by bit because obviously they cannot break. And yeah, what remains of the Dogwall champions? I mean, there's still plenty of shock infantry left. Like, these guys could have been committed to the fight, but I guess they wanted to try and just hold this back line. Because as I said, as soon as one breach point happens, and like, they wouldn't be able to send all these units to every single breach point. So as you can see, they all kind of broke at the same time. So yeah, definitely defending this back point was probably the smartest decision. There's nothing else you could really have done. We're getting some nice little charges in there, some missiles coming in. And I think at this point, the battle is, lost, and Dol Guldur have kind of committed their fate, with the war boss having his head chopped clean off by the proud dwarfs. They're in disarray right now. They don't know exactly what they can do. And the dwarfs move on, and I would say it's a pretty decisive victory, honestly. When we take a look at it, they have over 4,000, they have like literally over half their army still left alive. It's going to probably dip onto it any second now, but still, over half their army left alive is pretty crazy. And seeing that is very, very impressive indeed. Yeah, really, really super impressive. More infantry being sent around this side as well. We do have the cavalry being committed now, so you guys can finally see what the 7th of the Eye are all about. I imagine they've already racked up a decent amount of kills. They're 22 kills, not bad considering they were probably charged stationary. But the battle for the mountain, or the outer mountain, has been won. And I assume now they'll kind of, like, I guess, rebuild their armies. Any trickles of reserves will come in, and they'll prepare themselves for that final assault on the mountain. And I wonder if the dwarfs will be able to reclaim, or if, this campaign will be in vain and they'll be unable to claim victory. As we just see the final kind of pushes in now. I mean, I can't believe how many they have left, honestly. I thought the dwarfs would be, probably at least have 1,000 less men at this point. Because it was a brutal assault. I don't know if Dale's going to make it into the next fight either at this rate as well. Because Dale have very few men. Like, if I'm being completely honest. Dale have very few men still left remaining. They have a couple units of archers. So I imagine if we do have a Dale force in the next battle, it will be, extremely depleted. At least I hope it is. I hope they'll just give Dale another full army. Because that would kind of defeat the object of having these casualties. Dale have been hammered hard. And, yeah, hopefully we do get to see that. More crossbow fire coming in as well. A nice little position right here. Oh, one of the generals goes down. Who's that? Is that Dale's general? Yeah, the Dalian general being slain. So if anything, I don't know if Dale should even make it to the next battle. But we'll have to see. Maybe they'll just add them for fun. And there you go. A big rout. A Pyrrhic victory? Really? I thought it'd be way more of like a decisive victory, honestly. Only losing half your men in the battle is pretty good. But I guess if they were like, we have 4 players, which is good. And it's not like Dale's brought a bad army either. They had 2,600 men. But obviously they do get more men in their army. But yeah, I mean, I guess still able to bring, obviously they started with 2 armies in the previous battle, so I guess them 2 armies were condensed down into 1. So with that victory, the allies take the fortress by the skin of their teeth. However, celebrations are not made that night, for the losses were great, and they know there are more enemies soon to come, and they'll be pushed out to where they lurk. So if you guys enjoyed this battle, make sure you go ahead and drop a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.